Thanks once again for joining me on The Fast Lane, your podcast for success. I'm your host, Derek Lane. I appreciate your listenership and glad you could join me on another episode. Today, let's delve into more of a little spirituality type of thing. I know I've talked in the past about the essence of letting go. What does it mean to let go? Yes, we need to be engaged. Yes, we need to be aware. But we also need to let go. And what I mean by that is, in your life, you have different situations. Joyous and sadness, positive, negative. And this seems to be the battle, all the while. We're tempted. If you want to get, biblical or what have you, you're tempted with sins and your resistance to that makes you more enlightened. I believe that if you live a little bit more through your soul than just your human experience, you'll become a little more whole. You'll become a little bit more enlightened in your life. The hierarchy, once you get past the Maslow's triangle of hierarchy and you get to self-awareness, and when you become more self-aware, you start to understand things a little better. You become more forgiving. You start to let go of ill feelings, let go of past guilt, future guilt, current guilt. Let go of all of your guilt. Let go of all of your disappointments. Resist harboring ill feelings, okay? Don't carry those around with you. Knock that chip off your shoulder if that's what you've got going on. Learn to love. I'm telling you, that is the essence of enlightenment, is to become a more loving and forgiving human being, to experience your spiritual being while you're existing in a temporary plane here on earth. Okay, so you tune in to be a little bit more successful, maybe not needing the sermon, I get that, but I'm telling you, once you learn to mentally let go, get to your quiet place, practice your meditation, whatever works for you. As I've said in the past, I don't really go in for the yoga, blah, blah, blah type of meditation. I'm more of a just, quiet, reflective personality that starts to think a little deeper. Getting into trying to reach those theta brain waves and what have you. If you want to call it, your chakras and energy levels. One of the things I want you to do, and I'm encouraging you to do this week, is to try something a little different. Go outside of your norm. I know that, again, I've told you it's a fact that 90% of what you do today is what you did yesterday. 90%. So we're not really engaging into new activities and new thoughts. And I don't want you to just upset the apple cart 100%, because then it's not natural and you get confused and you don't know which way to go, right? You really introduce chaos into your life. I'm not advocating chaos into your life. I'm advocating a little bit more adventure into your life, just a little bit, and take it step by step by step by step. That way, what you did yesterday is not the same thing you did a year ago. What you're going to do tomorrow is not what you did a year ago. You're a completely more evolved person. You're more enlightened. You understand. You're more self-aware. Going back to the hierarchy, Maslow's triangle. Being more self-aware will pay huge dividends. So, again, what I want you to do is think about going into your habit, what you do. If you're commuting to work the same way, if you're eating at the same 4 restaurants at lunch, or you're eating the same thing that you take to lunch or for lunch, your shopping habits, your relaxation habits, whatever those things are, and they are habits. We're creatures of habits. That's what we do. We're not that instinctive as animals that, prey and what have you. We do have choices. We have free will. However, again, what keeps us from experiencing chaos in our life is ritualistic habits, things that we do over and over because it's safe. We know what to expect. We understand the outcome based on what the outcome has been over and over. So when you experience new ideas and new thinking, you get new outcomes, correct? Right. So again, baby steps with this, but you have to do it. You have to get started. So on your commute, listen to a podcast, a radio show, a book. If you're listening to books, listening to something that propels you toward your goal, what your outcome, what your expected outcome is. So you go into this mode of thinking that's a little different than where you have been. And it starts to create new results, different results. It starts to create and spur new thinking. Where does ideas come from? Can anybody really define where does an idea come from? When something comes into your brain, where does it come from? Again, I've referenced Ralph Waldo Emerson said that he never wrote anything of his own volition, merely a conduit to the great ethosphere, which means that he's pulling from energy that's in the universe. Energies that's out there. There are answers to your questions. You have to harness those answers. When I say let things go, mental effort defeats itself. Let me say that again. Mental effort defeats itself. Have you ever tried to think of something? Oh, I know that. I know that. Gosh, what it is? What is it? I know that. And you try and you try and you try. Whether it's a person's name or something, an old television show or an old song or, whatever the case may be, you're trying to think, what is that? Gosh, I know it. I know it like the back of my hand, but I can't think about it. You're trying too hard. And you ever thought about that when you quit trying, maybe an hour later, it pops in your head? Oh, that was it. Because your mental effort is blocking the answer from coming to you, from allowing the universe to provide you with that answer. You mentally blocked it by focusing all of your strength and energies on it. So learning to let things go and let things happen as long as they're being directed in the right way, in the right manner. I'm not telling you to just live life willy-nilly and let whatever happens to you. No. We've talked about that. As a matter of fact, the last podcast was about taking control of your life, not giving control away. What I mean here is mental effort, mental energy is allowing that energy into your soul, into your psyche. So once you allow it into your life, you become, again, more engaged, more enlightened, and you become a stronger person. So those thoughts that you have, those creative thoughts that you have that come to you, once you learn to allow those things to come to you, you're virtually unstoppable, and you create new thoughts, new ideas. You're a visionary person. Have you ever thought about people that are visionary? Wow, how do they come up with this? Or maybe gifted and talented, and they paint, or they write, or they sing. And how do they do it? They allow the universe to assist them. You have talents and abilities if you just allow the universe to assist you with it. The critical thinking on your path, whether you're engaged in finances, if that's what you're doing, you need to be fully engaged into it by listening to experts. And you may go, well, yeah, I've heard the same books and tapes, and it's over and over and over, and it's kind of redundant, and I really haven't manifested what I think I should be. Don't give up. Don't stop. Again, you may be trying too hard. Just sit back and listen. Just sit back and listen. Read. Hear the message. You don't have to implement it right away. Understand what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Be somewhat of a critic, but not too harsh of a critic. By that I mean don't make excuses why something's not going to work for you. When you've got an expert that is basically telling you the same thing this other expert said, and this other expert said, I don't think they're all wrong. So therefore, listen to what the experts tell you if that's what you're doing. I'm using a financial analysis. If they're telling you how to save money, how to earn money, how to make better deals, how to create better credit scores, whatever the case may be, sit back, listen to the experts. And before you know it, you start to absorb so much of this information. It becomes your second nature. And then you start implementing these ideas, and lo and behold, wow, it's working. Whether it's finances, whether it's on your relationships, whether it's just on business and being a better manager, better leader, whatever the case may be, you need to be engaged. You need to be taking advantage of the resources that are out there and that are virtually free to you. There's a little thing called a library card, and you can go in to your local library and look at all of the materials that are there and pick and choose. And then if you're looking for a particular material, guess what? Ask them to bring it into the library, and they will, at no cost to you. And as technology is advanced, and you're listening to podcasts like mine and trying to understand how can I be a better person, so has our public libraries. You can basically, with a library card, you can basically check out a book and download it to your phone, your computer, and check it out for 2 weeks. Listen to it, read it, whatever you prefer, at no cost to you. It doesn't have to cost you a ton of money to be educated. It doesn't need to cost you money to learn how to better your life. There are ways to do it. There are speakers out there that will give free speeches. If you look, you will find those at your nearby college campuses and courses. You can go to these things. It's free to you. When someone offers you free advice, well, number one, make sure it's a credible source. The bum out behind the supermarket's probably got a lot of advice for you. Maybe think twice about taking that advice. But what I mean is, accredited experts do give speeches. They do give talks. And isn't the podcast free? Aren't podcasts free to you? And literally there's thousands right now. So if you're into business, there's a ton of business podcasts. If you're into spirituality, there's a ton. If you're into comedy, if you like the crime stuff, whatever it is that you like, it's all free. Take advantage of it. Become a better person by being more aware of what's available to you in your surroundings on a daily basis. Change minute things for the better, to the good, and then that shift, that 10% that you do differently is a little bit more positive, so that makes over time that 90% that you've been doing a little more positive. So maybe a year later your 90% is totally different than it was a year later. Now it's more in a positive aspect of your life. Now you're leading your life a little bit more on the positive side versus some of those negative habits that you've created through society, culture, and just bad habits in general. Some of the things that you were taught. Seek and you shall find. Open your eyes and see the world through your eyes, not with your eyes. There are many things at your disposal to help you garner riches, wealth financially, wealth spiritually, wealth relationship-wise. There are so many ways to enrich your life and to be better and to achieve that hierarchy of Maslow's triangle of self-awareness in such a better, effective, just in a better and effective, more way of achieving things. You can certainly do it. Again, the resources. If someone says that hey, I got this great book for you, it's going to cost you $19.95. Okay, maybe you do want to spend $19.95 on it. I don't know, and maybe it will change your life. But overall, these things are all free to you if you look in the right sources. So, all right, with that, I hope this helps you kind of understand